What is happening, people? Welcome back to the Scarfe First Talk podcast. Additional episode this week, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it. We'll be reviewing the North London derby defeat, talking January transfer window and all things transfers and Spurs, as well as previewing our next game against Everton this weekend. Dare I say, a must-win game. So let's introduce the panel. Firstly, Travis, welcome back onto the podcast. How you doing?
Yeah, thank you for having me back on, Harry. Obviously, I love being a regular on the show. I'm looking forward to the Everton match tomorrow. Nice to meet some new people. Alfie, nice to meet you. Joesph, nice to meet you. Always got some great guests on here, Harry. So, looking forward to getting started.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us once again. Alfie, welcome back as well. How you doing, mate?
You're good, thanks. Would have been better after a Spurs win the North London derby, but getting a bit used to these losses now in the North London derby, unfortunately. But other than that, I'm all good. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, no problem at all. Sorry, as you say, about the circumstances, but still, hopefully you can find some positives and it can still be a good show. So thank you very much. Joesph, welcome back as well onto the podcast. Pretty much a regular as well here now. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me back on. And yeah, nice to meet Travis and Alfie. Looking forward to chatting about Spurs, and hopefully tomorrow we can expect something a bit better than we've been getting in recent weeks.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. And if you don't mind, Joesph, do you want to tell people a little bit about kind of our plan going forward with the Scarfe Spurs Talk page on X? Because obviously you're now involved and you're going to be doing some new X or Twitter spaces, if you like, post-match. Do you want to talk to people about that?
Yeah, of course. Again, thank you, Harry, for the opportunity. I'm going to be hosting some instant post-match spaces on Twitter, on X. So, anyone to come by, opposition fans, Tottenham fans, everyone's welcome. And just to talk about the game itself, talk a little bit wider about the Premier League in itself, all the transfers coming as well. We'll hopefully be doing that after each game, so including midweek in Europe and any other cup games we've got coming up. So everyone's welcome. Love to get everyone and have a proper conversation. Obviously, have your say about what you're feeling as well. Anyone can come on, and it's great to just talk to other Spurs fans, be able to have that conversation as well after that game. Hopefully, we'll be a bit more happy, a bit happier after the game tomorrow. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah. Obviously, come along, stay for as long as you want. If you just want to listen as well, that's fine. You don't have to come in and talk. Just come and listen to what people have got to say. But obviously, we want to hear everyone's voice. Everyone has a say on what they think, and it's great to hear what people's opinions are.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for agreeing to do this, Joesph. I was excited to launch this and announce this today. Should be really good. Something I've been wanting to do for a while, but with GCSEs coming up this summer, not something I could do right now. But Joesph, luckily, very, very keen to do it and always does a fantastic job when he's on here. So do check that out. That's the Scarfe Spurs Talk X page. But let's crack straight into it. Before we do, always forget, quick shout out to both our sponsors, Secure VPN and the Kitman. Travis, I'll kick it off with you. Sorry to start on this note, but quick review of the North London derby. What were your kind of thoughts now the dust has settled?
Yeah, I'm still not over it. It takes me probably more than a week to get over North London derby, especially when we lose. But yeah, I think we've got such a depleted squad at the moment. I was happy with the starting 11. Good to see obviously Kinksky starting in goal again. I think he is going to get that starting position over Vicario, given how good he's been since he comes to the team. But listen, a North London derby is obviously one of the biggest games in the world, and I just, I dread it every time we play them. I really, really do. There's no game that I hate more than a North London derby. Good to see Bergvall. I thought Bergvall was probably one of the best players in the team by a long shot. I think Maddison needed a rest anyway. I think Pedro Porro is just absolutely, I think Ange's killed him, obviously, given the choices that we've got to obviously replace him at the moment. But, decisions went their way that weren't the correct decisions, i.e. the corner, that wasn't even a corner. So, yeah, it was very, very frustrating to watch. But, yeah, as I said earlier, I'm frustrated for a week or more after a North London derby. I don't know about the other guys, but yeah, it takes a long time for me to get over that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one that always hurts, North London derby, one that means so much. And I think both sets of fans don't look forward to it, especially Spurs. We know our record at the Emirates. I mean, we just don't want to talk about it even now we've lost. But Alfie, I'll come to you as well to get your kind of thoughts looking back a couple of days now, and kind of, as I said, let the dust settle on it. How do you see it? And do you feel the same way as Travis in terms of decisions didn't go our way that maybe could have? Different referee, different situation?
Yeah, but I think in all, and sort of summed it up quite well, that we weren't at it from basically the first minute. Like taking the decisions out of it, we didn't really deserve to win that game at all. I was quite disappointed actually. I think we'd performed quite well, even in the games we've lost recently. There's been glimpses of us playing quite well, and I sort of hoped that would carry into the Arsenal game, because I felt even though Arsenal they're still obviously very strong, I felt their recent form perhaps it's the weakest we're going to get them. I know the Sky Sports article got ridiculed, and rightly so, because the injuries that they had were not even comparable to our level, but still it's probably the weakest we're going to have them in the recent times. And there was a bit of an opportunity there, and I felt like if we played quite well, we might get a goal or even two. But I felt the Son goal was perhaps undeserved. We didn't really get a grip of the game, and even when we brought on loads of attackers, I didn't feel that our sort of intent to attack and our pace of play even went up that much. The dial didn't move as much as I expected it to. So it was a bit of a disappointing one, and it almost made me reflect upon the Postecoglou sort of scheme in the last few weeks, that I've been quite optimistic because I've seen us play well in glimpses, and there's still signs of us playing well. But that game was, especially against Arsenal as well, it makes it 10 times worse. But it was sort of it felt like a gut punch. The performance and the result was both just so disheartening, and it was just nothing to sort of cling on to, I felt. So yeah, just a disappointing North London derby. I can forgive it if we had a few decisions against our way and we played really well, but I don't think that was the case at all, really.
100%. Thank you, Alfie. Completely agree with you. No excuses there not to turn up. But as Ange said post-match, in a North London derby, there's just no excuse for it at all. Joesph, how do you view it? Do you think the players failed to turn up? Did they bottle the occasion?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, obviously we went into it injured, as we've said, and also, there's fitness as well, just standard fitness. Players having to play, so much football. It's obviously taking the toll on them, like Travis said about Porro. Even, we tried to rest them against Tamworth. They still had to come on and play another half an hour at the end of the game because we needed them to. So, yeah, really poor outing. I mean, even when Son scored, I kind of celebrated for a second, but I was like, there's so much left of this game. And how Arsenal were dominating in terms of the press, we really, really struggled to play out. It just never really felt like we were going to have a real handle of that game. So, yeah, fair play to Arsenal, even with their injuries, because they did have a couple, even with them, they did just outplay us. So we can't be too unhappy with the result. Again, I think one thing that I've even realised just tonight or after watching that Villa game is I'm quite disappointed because, Arsenal were definitely, they were there for the beating in a sense. If we just turned up a bit more, if we played our football, which we really struggled to do, maybe we could have got something from that game. I mean, even one thing I noticed with Aston Villa, they were playing on a counter-attack tonight. But every time they went forward with intent. It felt like they knew what they wanted to do every time they were moving forward with the ball. And I can't say the same for us when we were going on our counter-attacks. I feel like it was always hoping something would come off rather than knowing something's going to come off. So definitely some things we need to improve on going into tomorrow's game. And, it's getting worse and worse for Ange. I mean, we're looking at where we are in the league right now. It's really looking rough. And unfortunately, I was with him for a while on the injuries, and I understand the injuries are key, but it's still not good enough. Maybe I didn't expect much from Arsenal, but the fact that it's 5 points in, is it 29 or something like that in the Premier League is just, it's really getting worrying now.
It's not good. I mean, 9 points. 9 points. Sorry, 9 wins in the last 9 months in the Premier League. I read the other day. I mean, that is staggering, really, if you think about it. And just some crazy stats that are really negative. But then you look at our, kind of record, I suppose, and statistics away from home, like in terms of the goals we've conceded. And you go, how have we managed that? That's actually really impressive. So, really strange team, I think we are. But Joesph, I'll come back to you. Do you think we have a mentality issue at the club? I'm talking maybe about the players, for example, in terms of not turning up for that North London derby.
I don't know just for that game. I mean, the thing is, I mean, you could say we've had a mentality issue for years and years in terms of whenever it kind of comes to these big games, we've always struggled, haven't we? So, you could say from a mentality issue from the top down, from the owners, and just kind of it seeping through into the playing squad, into the managers. There's just no belief, is there, that we're really ever going to get over the line, unfortunately. I don't know if it's just individually this game. I mean, it was weird, really, because it felt very anti-Tottenham, or from what we know of Tottenham, it was very much we're going to sit in and soak up pressure and try and, get maybe a counter-attack, which hasn't been what we've expected from Tottenham recently, is it? Under And we're expecting a style of football where we control the ball and we play our football, but it was just the opposite. It was really, really strange. A little bit like maybe that Liverpool game, but just with less control and less real. I don't know. It was just very, very poor. I think, you could start to question a broader sense of, is there maybe a mentality issue at the club? You're kind of hoping that maybe with this new generation of Spurs players coming through, that might change, and maybe with some of the older players that kind of experienced what Pochettino was, what Conte, what Mourinho was, maybe that kind of might leave. But I don't know. It's tough to see. We've got to see how the cup competitions go, because that's where really this team will prove what their mentality truly is. If they can kind of get over the line against Liverpool, make it to a final, if we can finish well in the Europa League stage, and maybe again go into the knockout stages, and see how we do against Aston Villa as well, because that's going to be a tough game. But if the players can prove that they're up for these games, maybe it's kind of, as things improve, maybe that mentality issue might not be as much of a question.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you very much. Alfie, different question for you. Who can hold their heads high despite that Arsenal defeat? I think we can all agree, bad result, of course, and also a bad performance. But there are a few players, aren't there, that maybe can, I don't know, feel happy with their own performance.
Yeah, and I think the answer is sort of applicable for the last few games as well. I think I'd say definitely Bergvall. I think the last few games he's really shown fight, and this is a kid that's just joined from the Swedish league recently. And don't get me wrong, he's been here for 4 or 5 months now, but that's not a long time in terms of football. Pochettino always bedded in players for 2 years. He took a season and then another season to really see the best of them. But Bergvall, you're already seeing such a promising start from 4 months in. And I think in the North London derby, he's the only person that I sort of looked at and thought, you get this, you have the desire and the fight to win this game. So I think he's somebody who held his head up high, especially as he held down the midfield basically when he brought on Maddison, and he sort of took off the sort of the shielding players of his midfield. He just left Bergvall to control the whole defensive line of the midfield. So I think he could definitely hold his head up high. And then other than that, probably only Jed Spence and Archie Gray. But as I said, ever since the injuries to most of the squad, they're the 3 players that you can keep pointing to. And the hilarious thing about it is that they're 3 players that have either been completely out of favour, or recently joined, or are incredibly, incredibly young in the case of Bergvall and Gray. And it's just disappointing that I think Andrew's being slightly let down by the senior players at this point.
It's
Son,
concerning,
in terms
isn't
of
it?
his,
It's getting
it is,
concerning. It's like we need those players to perform in those big games, and we're having to trust Bergvall and Gray to be those players. I mean, it's great to see them doing well, but it's really concerning.
exactly. It's almost an insult as well to the youth players that someone like Son I can sort of afford to. He's given his whole career to Spurs. He's falling off now a little bit, but we should have bought someone to be there to back him up. I mean, it's a shame that Odegaard and Moore have obviously been injured so much, but there needs to be someone there already. So that's poor investment. Son's had the Asian games. He's had years and years of running into the ground. Perhaps he's tired. Someone like Basuma, I have less faith to. He's 27, 28 now. So he's one of the senior players in the squad. He's actually playing in his position, unlike Archie Gray. Archie Gray's 18, Basuma's 27, and Basuma in the first goal there, or it might have been the second actually. It was just poor. It was just lack of focus, which you've seen from him too often on and off the pitch, and it just really frustrated me to look at him and then look at the players surrounding him, which was Bergvall and Gray, and it's them 2 that are just letting him down, and it's Basuma letting them 2 down again and again, and that's what's frustrating to me at the moment is the youth players can hold their head up high because they're really performing at the moment. They're really digging deep and they're making the most of the situation. Whereas I can't really say the same for the experienced or more experienced players such as Basuma.
I personally absolutely agree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head. And the thing is, Basuma, is I actually think he's got the real quality and potential to play this system and really thrive as well as that DM, but it's just that lack of concentration. And I thought recently he started to find some consistency. And then, don't get me wrong, it's a good tackle on him. Can't remember what Arsenal player, but really good tackle on him for that goal. But he takes too long on the ball. I think you're spot on, and you expect better when you've got others, as you said, out of position, a lot younger, thrown in there, played more minutes as well, and just ultimately doing a better job. So I'm with you on that. Travis, who were you impressed with despite that North London derby defeat? Anyone you'd add to the list maybe, or take away from that you weren't as impressed with that maybe Alfie mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, I'll stick with Lucas Bergvall. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, as you said earlier. He held the midfield so well. I thought Kingsley again was really good in goal. A couple of his decisions I didn't really agree with trying to do a couple of skills around the Arsenal strikers. But this is the thing. I think with Tottenham we let our head drop too quick, and I think it mirrors that. It rubs off on the whole team. And Sonny, he's, as you said earlier, he's given his whole career to the Spurs, to the club. He's a great captain. He's very positive. I've never seen such a positive, nice. I'm not saying that out of a biased term. He's such a friendly, nice person in general. I'm happy to have him at Tottenham for so many reasons. But I think we're back at that stage now where we rely on too many players, i.e. Van der Ven, Romero. And when these players are out, it's like when Harry Kane was injured, all hell broke loose because our number one striker was out of the team, and now we're missing Romero and Van der Ven. I think it's really kind of showing in the squads, but we can't be a team that relies on players. You rely on players to score goals, to defend, but and the transfer window speaks for itself. I'll speak about Kylo Marlon. I don't think he was even close to signing for Tottenham. Reading some of the things on Twitter. And I always go off for what Fabrizio Romano says or Paul O'Keefe. They're probably the two main sources that I would probably recommend and actually listen to, rather than some of the absolute clobber on Twitter with certain things. But I think and as Joesph said earlier about us, our position in the league, it is starting to get worrying. And I think, if hypothetically speaking, I don't think it's going to happen. But if we was going to get relegated, I think it would drop so much. I think it would drop so much revenue within the club, and I think so much would change in that sense. I could go on forever with that sort of thing. But if we are going to start contending for, I mean, I know we're in the FA Cup semi-final. But if we are going to start contending for the league next year, it's contending for Champions League, then Daniel Levy, and I hate saying the guy's name because I think I bring it up in every single podcast that we do, but he needs to have a serious think about what is going on inside his club at the moment and why we're in that position, and give Ange the full backing and the players that the manager actually wants, because Conte, Mourinho, maybe not so much Poch, but there's two managers there, two world-class managers, who knew what they wanted, but because there's cheaper options or easier people to buy, that's the options that we got. And I think Ange just needs to get the players that he wants and see where we go from there.
That's the thing. We'll get on to Ange Postecoglou in a little bit, but for me, it's back or sack because there's no in between. And what will Spurs probably do, and have done in the past, I think, maybe been guilty of, is we keep with a manager, we won't kind of get behind them, and then we're just like this. We're very, very average, and that's the problem. I think Ange's system is so bold; it requires players that are capable of playing the system, week in, week out, twice a week. I just don't think we have that. Alfie touched on it earlier, like Basuma. He might turn up one game, he's not going to the next. We need players that are going to consistently produce, and they ultimately are, world class. And we don't tend to find them.
The problem with Basuma, when he first comes to the club, he was like a Tango and Ndombele when he first comes to the club. We was like, wow, who is this player? And then he went off the ball, like Basuma's gone off the ball. So now he's not a very good player. And I don't know what happens to players. I don't know if it's because of the way the manager plays or the system that he plays. But he's an attacking midfielder, and I think he was absolutely shocking in the North London derby. So it's a shame because, as you said earlier, Harry, he has got so much potential to be such a good player, and he lit the light, he lit the place up at Brighton. He was absolutely fantastic at Brighton. I mean, you look at Nottingham Forest. They've got what's his name, De Santos. What's his name? Who come from us, the manager.
Oh, sorry,
Nuno. He comes to Tottenham. He lasted not very long. He's now at Forest. They're now contending for the Premier League title. And this is the thing: if you get the squad that you need and you can work with that squad, then it works.
I mean, one thing that I was kind of looking at with that, because you're right. It's strange to see how good Nuno's doing at Forest compared to what he was doing with us. I think one thing you can see with him at Forest is he's using the players the way that they play, in terms of, the two centre backs are defenders and they're not ball playing. They don't want the ball at their feet that much. They just want to defend, and that's what they're doing. You've got Hudson-Odoi and Elanga who are wingers and they're playing as wingers. We're almost trying to force players into a system rather than build a system around the players.
Exactly.
Because it's like, you see Son on the left wing. He's not a left winger, really. He's more of an inside forward who likes to cut in and link up with a striker. But against Arsenal, he just stayed on the touchline the whole game. And that's not what he does. I was going to come on to, I know Alfie mentioned about Jed Spence and he had a good game, or he could hold his head up high. And I agree. I think he actually, played well. But one thing I noticed about him, though, is that he doesn't have a left foot. He is so right-footed, and going down that left side, he's not comfortable linking up with Son. Every time he was always looking to go inside, because that's where he was naturally more comfortable with playing there. He's naturally comfortable playing the ball inside because on his right foot. And every time he looked to go left, he couldn't do it. He just wasn't natural for him. And I don't blame him for that, but it just shows that, again, we're forcing players into a system that they can't play, where we're forcing a right back to play left back when he needs to be playing right back, because that's where he's natural. It shows, again, lack of investment. We need a left back. We haven't got another natural left back other than Udogie at the club, and we've run Udogie into the ground. And it's just, again, there's a multitude of problems, but it's that kind of thing where you're seeing these teams, even like Iraola's doing it at Bournemouth. He's utilising the players in the system that fits, the players fit in the system. And it feels like we're doing the complete opposite. We've got a system and we're forcing players into it. And that's just not how you should manage.
Look at what he's done with Richarlison. He played Richarlison in Sonny's position when he took Sonny off. Richarlison is a centre forward.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think and I'm quite glad you said what you said about Jed Spence there, Joesph, because when you look at Sonny and you look at a wing back like Jed Spence, Sonny was always taking his defender on. I mean, you look at a couple of seasons ago when he took on the whole defence of, I can't remember who it was now.
Burnley, was it, when he got that goal?
Yeah, he literally ripped the whole team apart and scored. That's gone now. You don't see that from Sonny anymore. He's too busy tracking back and passing back to the defender, and then we're playing from the back, which is getting us into trouble at the moment because we haven't got the defenders to cover that area, or the right defenders to cover that area.
I mean, another player's Dragusin, isn't it? He's not natural as a ball-playing defender, and we're forcing him to be it. If he was in Nottingham Forest defence, I think everyone would be looking at him going, he's a quality centre-back, he's a quality defender. But the problem is, we've got him in a system which it outlines his flaws when you should be putting him in a system that doesn't. Same with Son at the moment. We're putting him in a system that outlines his flaws. The one thing he still has is his finishing ability. You can see that he can finish, he can shoot. We'll put him in a position where he used to do with Kane, where he used to link up with Kane on the edge of the box. He used to swing those shots in. He's never in that position anymore because Ange got him playing on the touchline, the same as Brennan Johnson. It's like, it doesn't suit it. It really is baffling sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. No, thank you very much, guys. A nice discussion there. I'd like to welcome onto the podcast Sean. How you doing, mate?
I'm okay, thankfully. Can you hear me all right? Yeah.
Yeah, all good. Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
I was having some problems with my microphone. It decided that it needed a firmware update. So anyway.
No worries.
But, good to see everyone. And I have been following the conversation. Yeah, I have to echo that thing about Jed Spence playing at left back with a predominantly right foot. It's a big ask, It's a big ask, and you have to be pretty special, someone like a Chris Hughton who used to do that, who was right-footed but played left back. But he had the ability to make up with that deficit. But it's a tough ask to play left back when you're so right-footed as Spence is, But yeah,
it just shows the lack of investment again, doesn't it? One natural real left back. I mean, you could say Ben Davies, but he's more of a centre back now. But one natural left back in terms of someone who can play forward. And again, we even ask more than that from a left back and a right back. We expect them to almost play as wingers or cams, or I don't even know how to explain it. Attacking midfielders sometimes, where you have a Doggy and Porro kind of going into those spaces. You're just asking for such a specific player, and it's when they're both out, we don't have that player.
No, I think you're absolutely spot on. Last but not least, I'd like to welcome onto the podcast. Big panel tonight, and it should be a good one. Marlon from Spurs Kings TV. Marlon, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good, mate. You?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for coming on.
No worries.
Great to have you. Let's crack into it. I think it's a good time for everyone to join because we can now talk about Ange Postecoglou and his future. So, Marlon, I'll start with you. Ange, stick or twist?
After Wednesday, I am gone. And the reason
completely?
why I'm gone, completely gone, is because not one of them players could put a pass together in that second half. And for me, that starts to show that they don't believe in it. The Tamworth game was bad enough. Don't get me wrong, right? But I was giving it to him. But now I'm just like, North London derby. We've had the whole Manchester City thing last year. I'm done. I said to everyone, I will stick him with him because of the cups, but I'm now finished because I don't see this situation getting any better. And the reason why I say I don't see it getting any better, we're 18 days into the transfer window, and they've given him a goalkeeper. You clearly can see what direction the ball are going in. They need to go get a manager that suits them, not us, them. Because there's a particular way they want to do things. So they need to go get a manager that suits the way they want to build this club and the way they want to move forward. And unfortunately, Ange's tactics needs a certain type of player to play in certain positions. And we're not going to go get him that. We are not. We've clearly seen in 18 months, we are not going to go get him those players. So at this present moment, I'm like, what's the point? Let a new manager come in for the next 6 months, do what he needs to do with these players, and then move on. Because unfortunately for Ange, it's just a case of I can see the potential there of what he can do, but he's not going to be at a club like Tottenham Hotspur, and that you can clearly see it now. We are 15th, 15th or 14th. I can't remember where we are now. 15th now, yeah. So how I'm looking at it is going, look, I'm not expecting miracles, but with this squad, the minimum where he should be is 10th. 10th is where he should be. Us being 15th and losing tomorrow, you've got to start going. I understand painful rebuilds, but at the end of the day, everyone knows how to play against Ange. He's come out and said, I'm playing this way or the highway. And unfortunately in the Premier League, you have very good managers in this league that will tactically change things and tweak things in game-by-game situation. Arsenal, let's just put this in perspective. Arsenal have had 4 games in the last week or so. We're the only team they beat. Just says it all. And they're not even on form. We couldn't even go there and lay a glove on them, right? But yet Newcastle did, Man United did, who only took over us a couple days ago, and Aston Villa have gone there today and got a result because they all changed their tactics and slightly tweaked, and they literally went at Arsenal. Arsenal ain't got the players at the moment going forward, but yet we couldn't lay a glove on them. So I'm a bit. Look, I was with him, but up until Wednesday, I was gone.
Okay, interesting to hear. Thank you very much, Marlon, and well explained, I think, as well. A lot of people will agree with you, but at the end of the day, we're not where we want to be. 15th place, there's always going to be pressure on the manager. Sean, how do you feel about Ange at this moment in time? Obviously, you've come on fairly recently. We did discuss Postecoglou's future. A little bit's changed since then, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even the man himself admits that the record is not good enough. But I'm here alone on Mount Postecoglou if necessary, because the staggering stat I heard this week is that since the start of the season, for 32 games, he has only had 5 players who've been available for all of those 32 games. 5 players in a squad of 23. You try and knit together any sort of form when you've only got 5 players who are available, and the best ability in the world is availability. And if we haven't got 10, 11, or whatever it is players available in such a small squad, it's a wonder that we're even in the position that we are at, to be honest.
Okay.
And I'm prepared to give him this season, at end of this season, definitely. And to be honest, what do you want to do? You want to go through this thing again in 18 months' time? Because that's what's going to happen. You say what does this? What does you just said, Marlon? That this is we want to go down the road that Enoch go, which is changing the manager every 18 months.
You're going to have to.
Are we any further forward?
Yeah, but we're going to have to, because the board are not going to change. So we have to do this every 18 months until they're gone, unfortunately. But with Ange, you're saying that, but he had injuries last year.
In what world did they go, Marlon? They're making a fortune.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not going. So we might as well we're not going to get rid of them. So we might as well sit in this cycle for the next 18 months or just change your managers, because that is the way Enoch worked. Now, you're saying about the injury crisis, he's only had 5 available, right? But he had the same, when in January last year, when we had injuries again, same problem. So it's not like we haven't been through this. We've been through this last season with him. As soon as he got those injuries, he just didn't adapt to the situation, and we were losing games again. You can't win. I think his record is, for over a calendar year, is shocking. For any Premier League manager, it's shocking. And that's the problem. That is the problem at the moment. And I was with him. Up until Wednesday. I was there, but I can't do it anymore. I can't sit there and argue in his favour. You might say it's only 5, but would we go and get a result against Newcastle today, 4-1? We wouldn't, would we? Bournemouth had 10 players out, and 8 of them first team players. So what's the difference?
They've got a plan B, Marlon. That's why.
Well, but a lot of people, and this is the issue. See, for me, Ange does have a plan B. Don't get me wrong, Ange does have a plan B. But the problem is he still wants to try and play the same way. And for me, the midfield is very key to his system.
He's stuck in his ways. He's already said that. He's not.
Exactly. And the problem is he's relying on Basuma and Bentancur, right, to play that role. Bentancur's half the time is injured and whatnot. So again, they've had 18 months to prepare for that. This is the club now I'm talking about, and him. And Basuma just goes missing. In certain big games, Basuma goes missing. But yet we still haven't rectified this, and we're now 18 months in. You can clearly see the way he wants to play. And we're still, Van de Ven got injured last year, same again this year. Haven't really replaced him. Romero got injured last year, right? He's replaced with Dragic. We've got an 18-year-old playing centre-back, right? And everyone's complaining that he's playing there, right? And how you meant to do this with the other, this, that, and the other. Who was one of our best players on Wednesday? The 18-year-old that, should be playing there. So it's not for me. It's not the players coming in, because look at Jed Spence. Jed Spence, the guy he wouldn't even give a minute to. And we all said in pre-season he fits Ange's system the best. It's only because of injuries why even Jed Spence is playing. Again, another player that was one of our best players the other night. Bergvall, you saw how he treated him at the beginning of the season. Okay, with Bergvall, I'll give him credit where credit's due, because he needed time to settle. But again, one of our best players. So it's not, and what people don't realise, the players that are letting him down are the players that have been here for the last 18 months. The Basumas of this world, the senior players. Sonny at the moment's letting him down, right? You've got Brennan Johnson letting him down. I don't see where we go from it, because we could get Van de Ven and Romero back, but the results are still the same. We lost 4 or 5 before they even got injured.
One thing I'd like to add, if I could, sorry, Travis, for interrupting. I mean, I appreciate what you're saying in a way, Sean, in terms of like the injuries and stuff. But when have we ever sacked a manager when we're in this position? I mean, we're 15th in the league. We're 8 points off relegation.
Exactly.
I don't remember a time where we were this close to the relegation zone when even any of the other managers got sacked. This is one of the worst I've ever seen Tottenham in a position in my life.
Hey, just to clarify,
it's not the worst.
I saw us relegated in 1977. So
fair enough, and I appreciate that.
So,
maybe I haven't seen all the worst parts, but in terms of in my life,
we're not getting relegated.
No.
Look, I don't think we will either. But the fact that we're even in contention with that is despicable. It's disgusting, considering the way our club spends, or we're supposed to be, the players we've got, the infrastructure we've got. We should not even be in that conversation, and we are. And for me, the injuries we've got, I understand that, and I appreciate that when you have these injuries, you aren't maybe going to have the same performances.
Agreed.
But then you've got to change the way you play to make yourself harder to beat. You can't go out and play the same exact way, and you're going to lose these games against these teams that adapt and change the way they play. I mean, Bournemouth probably don't play exactly the same way today against Newcastle as they did, when they had these 10 players available. Iraola's willing to adapt his style of play and change what he needs to do in different games to get results. I haven't seen enough of that from Ange. He's maybe started doing it a little bit recently, maybe with that Liverpool game and that Arsenal game, but even then, you're not getting the results anyway. Or the Liverpool game you did, but the Arsenal game you didn't. And I just, the numbers just don't lie. When you're 15th in the league and you're 8 points off relegation, it gets to a point where you're just like, how can you carry on the same way?
No, thank you. Thank you for all of that. Alfie, I want to bring you in on this. You've had a lot to listen to, a lot to get your teeth into. How are you feeling right now with Ange Postecoglou?
Yeah, I'm still patient, especially whilst we're in the cups. Obviously, tomorrow's a big game. Lose that tomorrow, and the landscape changes drastically, obviously. But I think the Ange out sort of the things we've heard say Ange out so far have been a bit contradictory. So there's this narrative apparently that he needs the exact players to perform his sort of squad and his system, which he does clearly, and that's why he's changed slightly the cups. I think you said Joesph, he needs to adapt in them games to win, and he has. I think it's Liverpool. He sat back a little bit. He adjusted his approach because he knew he needs to win. In the league, I'm convinced at the moment he is sacrificing the league a little bit because he knows we can afford to lose a few games. Obviously, tomorrow's a different one, but he can afford to lose different games just to keep the squad's mentality and the momentum of what he wants to create at Tottenham the same. He can't go defensive one week and then go, we're going to go and play expansive the next week in, week out. You can't flip-flop like that too much. You've seen that with someone like Mourinho, who just failed because towards the end, you didn't know what he was doing, what he was playing. There was no identity of the squad. But then there's also this narrative, apparently, that he needs a lot of investment to make his squad. But you just mentioned, Marlon, that Bergvall was the best player. He cost 5 to 10 million. Gray was the best player. He cost 30 million. Van der Ven, one of the best signings, cost 30 million. Udogie cost 30 million. These aren't blockbuster signings.
Yeah, but I didn't say you needed money. I said you needed players. There's a difference.
Yeah, but you said that anyone who can go under the ENIC ownership, if no one can succeed under ENIC's ownership at all.
Of course, and I do agree. I do agree with that. I do agree. I completely agree with what you're saying. No one can succeed under this ownership. However, I don't believe that ENIC have given Ange Postecoglou a team that should be sitting 15th.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating now because he's been absolutely injury struck twice, so he deserves to have a bit more investment now. And I'm not even saying that he needs someone like a £50 million player.
No, I'm not expecting a £50 million players.
But I actually think if you had to build a Tottenham manager, perhaps Postecoglou is the perfect for the resources we currently have available. If we've seen ENIC aren't going to go and spend. Solanke was a once in a blue moon. Ndombele was a once in a blue moon. That's two players who signed for over 60 million in the last 5 years. So it's not going to happen very often. But who's the best manager that's proven recently that he can perform and mould players that are cheap into players that can be usable? And that's clearly Postecoglou. We've seen Kinski in the last few weeks. We've seen Bergvall do it and Gray do it. And even with someone like Spence, who is one away, he's managed to turn him into someone that he can use in the next few weeks. So I think the idea that he can't succeed when he's not going to get loads of money isn't really true. But as you said, I think he just needs a little bit now. The board can't just sit on their hands rest the window now. There's the squad that's crying out for some sort of reinforcement, and there can't be any more excuses. They have to just bring in someone. And as I said, it can be someone like Kinski, just even someone that's 10, 15 million, that's data driven. And there's a lot of flack that this data driven approach it gets. but he's clearly proven that he can sort of make it work. Postecoglou, it might take him time, and it might be a bit frustrating to watch that we're not going to go and pluck the most expensive signing, but he can make it work. So just give him it. You can afford 30 million split over 2 players, 50 million in the most wanted player, most high requirement positions, which I believe are centre back and probably in midfield. They can go and get 2 players at £15 million, and it'd probably help Postecoglou navigate the next few months. But if he doesn't do it, as he said at the start, there's no point in not backing him even slightly and keeping him. You might as well get rid of him at that point. But then at the same point, you're sort of stuck with the same cycle. If you're not going to invest in Mourinho, you're not going to invest in Conte, who are you going to invest in? So it does leave me a bit worried if they don't invest any more than 15 million this window. That's where I start to get really concerned. But as for Postecoglou, I'm still patient. Obviously, the landscape can change very quickly, but we're in all the cups. He's got a lot against him. He just needs a bit of time. We've seen Arteta. I know he's struggling a bit at Arsenal now, but he had to have 2-3 seasons to really get going, and now they're challenging the league every season.
Everyone uses that as an example, and so tactically, when he first started at Arsenal, he was very defensive. Then he spent an untold amount of money, which Spurs. This is where the contrast comes in. Spurs are not going to spend that amount of money on Postecoglou, as we can clearly see, to go because they went and bought 4 or 5 players, and then they went and invested in over 2-3 seasons, and then it finally clicked in and went right for Arteta. The problem is that Tottenham, as we can see right now, he is in where he needs players. Why we haven't signed a left back, right, in between now and the window? We signed a goalkeeper, but a left back that can come in for you, Doggy. Doggy's now injured, right? You've got Spence playing there, which if you look at the second goal against Arsenal on Wednesday, was because what people don't realise, if you had a left-footed player out there instead of Spence trying to play it back to Basuma doesn't get in trouble and try and do what he does on the ball, which then leaves Dragishin and all that to come across. These are the problems that sometimes it causes when you have players playing out of position. And unfortunately for me right now, I clearly can see the board are not going to back this guy. You can clearly see it. We're 18 days in, and we've won how many games? Look, you can't have 5 points out of the last 27 and 3 of those points come against Southampton. It clearly is not good enough. And you say he's sacrificing the league, for the cups for the league. I don't think he is. I just think at the present moment, it just clearly states that the players are just playing slightly better in the cup, because when we go to Anfield, it could be a complete different story. We haven't even, how many away games have we won this season? Even with our first team there. It's ridiculous. You can't be going to away games and winning only 2, I think we've won, or 3.
Yeah, but as the way this season, one of them was 4-0 City. So
it's ridiculous. You can't go into a season and expect to only win 3 games away from home and expect to compete. It's not. And I get that it's City and United and Southampton, but come on, we've really got to start putting pressure. We as fans have got pressure on this board to go and get this manager so he can push forward, or Ange needs to be replaced with someone, like I said at the beginning, who's going to suit the board and not what we want.
Like, I appreciate as well, we have had some good performances under Ange. I'm not going to dispute that, but it's not consistency. And as well, you can really only say the only consistent period in Ange's tenure was the first 10 games of the season last year. That was it. After that, the second half of last season, we were terrible. We were really, really poor. We were really falling off. Performance after performance was poor. We were scraping by getting results. And then this season's been really average. We've seen every now and then we see some good performances, and then we see absolute, I don't even know, just disappointment after disappointment. Even the games like Ipswich, Brighton away, just all these different games, you can say how many poor performances we're having. It's just, I understand people want to be patient and nobody wants to just get another manager and again in 18 months. I get what Sean was saying as well when you're saying that we don't want that. No one wants that. But Tottenham are in a really precarious position right now, and we just need to get through some of these games and get results, and we're not doing that. We haven't been getting by. When you have these injuries, sometimes you just need to get by and get results, and we're not even doing that. It's really hard to see us, again, 5 points in 27 is relegation form. We're 18th in form table, 18th. And I understand the injuries are bad, but other teams deal with injuries and they still pick up points. And you've got to pick up points. That's how you've got to.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree. Before we move on to Everton, because I'm conscious for time, Travis, going to put this question to you that we've got in the YouTube chat. It's from Paul Brown, a regular. Big up, Paul, who says, do the panel agree that it's Ange's rigorous training methods that resulted in serious depleted squads? And Travis, I think Paul makes a good point. A lot of hamstring injuries, maybe, for example, Timo Werner, the latest, he's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Do you think that these injuries are a coincidence? They're down to training? What do you think?
I don't think Werner's injured. I think it's a smokescreen that he's going to be going elsewhere. I think he's going to be going to Eintracht Frankfurt, if I'm completely honest with you. Obviously, us as fans, we don't see the... Yes, Joesph. We don't see the training methods. We don't see the training that he does on a day-to-day basis with the players. So, no, I don't think it is. My personal opinion, I think it's down to the medical staff, because I know there's a big inside thing going on at the moment behind the scenes that the medical staff just aren't good enough for the team. And I've read that from a lot of different things on the Tottenham ITK and also on Twitter. I'm more, obviously, you lean more towards the Tottenham ITK because there's a lot of reliable sources on there. But yeah, no, I don't want to say it's not his training methods, because it could potentially be, but I think more than anything, it's the medical squad, personally. Okay,
thank you very much, Sean. One more question actually that I'll put to you. If Ange Postecoglou is sacked, obviously you don't want him sacked. I don't either at the moment, to be totally honest with you. I can totally understand both sides, but I'm behind him for now. But if
I recognise that there's, he could be replaced. But it's not.
Who'd you replace him with, though? If he was,
this is the well. I mean, in an ideal world, you'd maybe get someone like Iraola. But is Iraola going to leave the comfort of Bournemouth to come to Tottenham? I don't think so.
Certainly not mid-season.
No, yeah, maybe at the end of the season. I think maybe because he would be my one as well, Sean. I think it's like if you could get him at the end of the season, and maybe you just got to kind of maybe just somehow survive with Ange for now. But he looks unbelievable as a manager. What he's done with Bournemouth is so impressive.
I feel that he's destined to go to Arsenal when they lose patience with Arteta.
Let's not say that, because we don't want him to go to Arsenal.
Well, I'm sorry. It's a well-trodden path. They're schoolboy friends, but I would imagine Iraola will take his job in the drop of a hat. So So this is, you're not going to get him. You're not going to get him. Well, you're going to get Matthew Wells, who's now the deputy, to see us through to the end of the season. I'll tell you what, there's more danger of being relegated under him than there is under Ange Postecoglou. But yeah, Iraola would be my choice, but I don't see it happening in a month of Sundays.
No, nor do I. Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to Everton now. Joesph, I'll kick it off with you. How are you feeling ahead of this game?
I'm nervous. I mean, it's like I think Alfie said earlier, and as you said at the start of the podcast, I think, Harry, it's a must win. Like, we have to win this game. We could say going into the Arsenal game, we didn't expect to win and, we didn't get it. But this is must. We have to win this game no matter what. So I'm hoping for a big performance, but I've been let down numerous times. So I can't say I expect to win. But that is the minimum. The minimum is 3 points tomorrow. So it's going to be tough. I mean, obviously, new manager in with David Moyes. And maybe, I don't know if that will help us or not. I don't know if maybe he needs to get to know his team a bit more. He's only had one game in charge, hasn't he, against Villa. So maybe that will help us. But Goodison's going to be rocking as it always is. They seem to have picked up some decent points against us recently. I remember the Michael Keane goal. Was it last year? And oh god, that pissed me off. So yeah, maybe we can get a win, but it's so hard. Like you never know what is going to happen with Tottenham. You don't know how they're going to play week in, week out. So anything could happen tomorrow. We could go there and absolutely spank them 3-0. We could go there and get a 1-1, or we could really, stink up the place and end up having a loss. So yeah, we'll see. But I don't know, nervous with the game. That's what I'd say.
Absolutely. Yeah, no surprise there at all. Sean, would you say this has potential to be a banana skin? Everton, good defensive team. David Moyes loves the result against Tottenham.
Yeah, of course it is. Every game's a banana skin. I mean, teams lose to teams that we don't expect all the time. We're doing it more than most at the minute, but other teams, you can't say that even Arsenal haven't lost games this season, which you didn't expect them to lose. So it's a potential banana skin, but I'm quietly confident that we'll take the 3 points tomorrow.
Okay, love it. Absolutely love the confidence. Alfie, what are your thoughts going in tomorrow? Obviously, you've expressed earlier on it is a a really important game. Do you back us? Obviously, don't give you score prediction. We'll come on to that. But do you feel confident?
Yeah, I'm hoping for a reaction. Just more out of hope than anything. A reaction would be ideal. And then I was also looking earlier, our next 3 games. I don't know if you've seen it there. So we've got Everton, which is, I mean, I know we've been really poor recently, but we should be beating Everton. That is, I'm hoping for a win tomorrow. Then we've got Leicester at home. Leicester, under Ruben Nistelrooy, one of the worst sides I've seen in recent time. They're really, really, really poor. At home, that should be a win. So that's 2 in a row, and they started to climb the league. So I'm looking at it, I'm just hoping it's sort of the start of a momentum builder, because Hoffenheim in midweek should be in. They're really struggling in the Bundesliga as well. I'm just hoping this is the kickstart of a bit of a recovery, because we need something to cling on to. I know the injuries and certain players are coming back. I think Davies might be back and a few might be dropping out. I'm hoping it will sort of shift the team around a bit, and we'll see a bit more of an attacking start to the game, a bit like what Arsenal wasn't, which it should have been. So I'm just hoping it's sort of a momentum builder, but I'm confident, but also very cautious that a loss could be really, really, really poor. So yeah, nervous for Everton away, which I didn't think I would be 5 months ago.
2 relegation 6-pointers there.
I'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, in terms of team news, Davies is expected to be back. Johnson and Basuma are doubts, and Werner is out. He's out now for 3 to 4 weeks. And for Everton, it should be too soon for Dwight McNeil, which is good for us. Obviously, Everton, a lot of problems going forward, but he is, would be their creative source if he was available. So yeah, that's pretty much the team news for both teams. Travis, I'll come to you. How are you feeling ahead of tomorrow? And what would your lineup be? Kick us off with that.
Yeah, obviously, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm nervous. It is Tottenham the way we're playing at the moment. Yeah, I'm really not looking forward to it. Obviously, Goodison Park isn't the easiest places to go to. I know they're not in the best of forms at the moment, but it's probably one of the hardest grounds to go to when they are in form. I know it's been a while since they have been, but yeah, I'm dreading it. My starting 11 would probably be Vicario, Porro, Archie Gray. See, I'll drop Dragusin. I can't stand the geese at the moment, for honestly. I think it's another Eric Dyer. I think it's an absolute donkey. Ben David, hopefully, if he's back. How long's the doggy out for?
I don't think he's going to be back for tomorrow.
No. Yeah. Midfield, Kulusevski, Maddison, and Sarr, and then Sonny and Solanke.
Okay.
Can I just say, I was going back quite a bit earlier. I need to get off my chest, but we have never replaced Moussa Dembele, and I don't think we ever will. Scott Parker, when he was at Tottenham, was an absolute baller, absolute class. Him and Moussa Dembele, probably two of the best midfielders we've ever had. So I think somebody brought it up earlier in the comments. Yeah, Moussa Dembele was just an absolute beast.
Can I add Michael Carrick to that list?
Absolutely not. Oh dear. Can you edit that part, please, H?
Yeah, we'll see. We can see what we can do. No. Thank you very much, though. Marlon, I'll come to you. What would your lineup be tomorrow with what we've got available?
Going by what Travis said, I'd probably replace Kinksky. I'll probably put Kinksky in goal because I don't think Vicario will be ready. Porro, I know a lot of people have said to drop him, but I can't see. unless Spence goes there and Reguilon goes left back, but I can't see.
Can Davis not go left back and Spence go right back, and he doesn't invert the full-backs?
He won't do that though.
Surely. Should he?
Yeah, he should. He should, but he's not going to do that. So I have to go with what I know Andrew's going to do. So you'd have to go Spence left back, Porro right back, Gray, and it has to be Dragic. He just has to go with that same back four because I don't think he has any choice. Depends on how fit Davis is, but again, are you going to rush Davis back like he did with Van de Ven and Romero and have to take the risk of him getting injured again? I don't know. I can't even remember who you said your midfield was now. I know you said Kulusevski and Maddison. I agreed with one of them.
It was Kulusevski, Maddison, and Sarr, wasn't it? I think Travis said.
Yeah, I think Basuma's out, isn't he?
Yeah. Basuma's out.
Yeah.
Now, if he wanted to take a massive risk, so I'd put Bergvall in the middle. I'd put Maddison in there and possibly Sarr, and I'd put Kulu on the right, and I'd put Son on the left and Solanke up top. But if he really wanted to make a statement, if he really wants to go for it, I'd put Archie Gray in there as well with Bergvall and Maddison and just try it because he's got nothing to lose.
If he did that, who would go at the back? What, Davis back in?
So Davis will come back in.
Yeah, okay. I think we all want to see Gray and Bergvall in midfield, don't we? Like,
we need to see it. And I kind of go, if Davis is back, I'd literally go put Davis and Dragic at the back and let's see how Archie Gray will do there for 45 minutes because the last 3 games, and I've been critical of Archie Gray at centre back because I think some of his positioning was a bit. He did cost us a couple goals by being not in the right position as a defender, but the last 3 games he has literally stepped up and been absolutely. He's amazing on the ball, which he's always been what he's been good at, but it's always been his positioning. But he's worked that out, and I think we've got to give him a go in midfield because Basuma's not doing it, and nor's Bentancur. So just go for it and see if he can protect that back four.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marlon. I personally don't worry about our defence in this game. Everton can't score many goals. I think our defence has done all right. It's
famous last words, Harry.
Well, you're right, yeah. Always the way. We should be worried about our defence. Some of the numbers are at home, but away, we don't concede hopefully too many. No, I shouldn't say that. The way we play as well. Very, very risky. Sean, what would be your lineup?
Oh, God, it's mix and match, isn't it? I would like to see Spence at right back tomorrow because he's so much more effective there. And I would bring Reguilon in at left back, but it's mix and match from the rest of the team. It's whatever we've got left. I don't. To be honest, I don't know. Just win the game. Just win the game.
Absolutely. Alfie, anything you changed to your lineup?
No, I agree with Marlon's idea of playing Archie Gray in the holding midfield role. I think someone just commented it there that playing a DM would sort of solve the defensive problems because it wouldn't go that far. I mean, Basuma's like literally not even stopping anything. Everything's played like a sieve in midfield. Everything goes through him rather than him stopping anything at all. And I think if you put him there, maybe you sort of eradicate some of the defensive errors. But obviously, it's just rushing back Davies. How close is he to full fitness? But yeah, if Gray can play. Yeah, if Gray can play that outstanding at centre back, I've watched him last year for Leeds at right back. He was outstanding there. Imagine if he plays in his actual position. I mean, he's been played senior football for the last 18 months and hasn't played his proper position. He's been outstanding. So I can't wait to see him play DM. But if Davies isn't fit enough, obviously go to a similar lineup to last week and possibly put Sarr in there. But if Davies is fit enough, by all means, I'd love to see Gray at DM.
Okay, thank you very much. And last but not least, before we whiz through score predictions, Joesph, anything you changed to your 11? This isn't what you think will happen, but what you would do if you were in Ange Postecoglou's kind of position right now.
I think I mirror what most people, what everyone said. I think the only player that I'd really like to see feature in some way is Mikey Moore. I think he was the best player on the pitch against Tamworth before he came off, to be honest. And I understand maybe it's because of the illness he's had and not wanting to overplay him too much. But I'd love to see him feature some way, if that is from the start or if that's coming off the bench. Score prediction wise, I'm going to go 2-1 Tottenham. I'm going to say we score right at the end and get a late minute winner. That's me being hopeful. But just afterwards, after we go through this, if I could say one last thing before we go off. All right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, remind me. Absolutely, we'll definitely do that.
H, can I just say something before you carry on?
Yeah, go on.
Because we've been recording this at the present moment, there is a massive rumour going round in the last 5 minutes that Solanke is out for 6 weeks.
No.
Oh dear.
Well, that's the same guy that Richarlison had a go at, though, isn't it, for spreading the fake rumours.
Oh,
I
right.
hope.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, because
let's hope that's not true.
I really do.
We don't
hope
need that.
he'll be the last one.
Goodness me.
If it don't rain, it pours in Tottenham land.
that one will send me over the edge, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's sent down to literally toppling over the hill as well. Travis, what would be your score prediction?
I'd like to say Andrew's going to make a statement against Everton, but making a statement against Everton isn't really a big thing, really, is it? Let's be honest, it being Everton, with no disrespect. But I'm going to say 3-1 Tottenham.
3-1 Tottenham. Okay, 2 Spurs wins. That's always nice. Marlon, I'll come to you next. Are you going for a Spurs win?
No, I'm not. Look, Everton is the one team that we kind of get the most points against, but I don't trust this team. I don't trust them one bit. And I've just got a feeling. I did see parts of Everton Villa on the other night, and Everton they're toothless up front, but it's us. It is Tottenham. I don't know what we're gonna do, so I'm going for a draw.
You're going for a draw. Okay.
I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
Right, fair enough. Thank you, Sean.
I think it will be 2-1 to us.
I was hoping for 7-0, Sean. I was hoping something a bit more confident.
I was at the game. I was actually at Goodison when we won 6-2 the last time we played decent away from home.
I remember that one.
Yeah, but
Ericsson, Dele Alli.
Yeah,
that was a nice game, wasn't it?
But it was down. I mean, you want to talk about away form? The away form from that game onwards under Poch. Oh dear, oh dear.
Awful.
Is that when Theo Walcott threw himself on the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Shocking. Anyway.
Yeah.
I still think we'll win tomorrow.
Let's hope so. Alfie, banking on you as well for positivity. I'm detecting the Spurs win. Am I right?
Yeah, I reckon 3-1. I mean, I was trying to think. Obviously, Everton are very toothless, but they'll find a way to score probably. I mean, we don't keep many clean sheets. So yeah, 3-1. If Solanke's not injured, but I hope he isn't, I'd go for a Solanke goal, probably a Son goal, and then Richarlison off the bench against his former club. That's my little feeling. He's gonna score against Everton.
Love it. That's what we want against his old club. I think that kind of wraps us up nicely. Oh yeah, Joesph, you wanted to say something before going off air?
Yeah, just as we mentioned at the start, I noticed there's quite obviously a lot of people here today. So I just wanted to say again about the Twitter space that we're going to be doing after each Tottenham game. Really looking forward to it. And anyone who wants to give an opinion or anyone who just wants to come along and listen, just feel free to come join us. We'll be sharing it on the Scarfe Spurs Talk Twitter page or X page. So yeah, please do come along. Looking forward to talking to different people and getting their opinions about the game as well as anything else, Premier League football or Tottenham football. Yeah, absolutely. Go check us out across all socials at Scarfe Spurs Talk X page, post-match Twitter spaces, as well as lots of content across all socials. If you're listening on a podcast platform via audio, don't forget to drop us a follow and a 5-star review. Shout out to our sponsors, SecurityVPN and the Kitman. If you listen on YouTube, smash the subscribe button. It's free to do so and it helps the channel and the podcast grow. And a massive thanks to everyone in the chat, listening live on YouTube or after, contributed. Once again, thank you for your continued support. Let's go around now the panel as well. Big panel today, so thank you to all of you. Firstly, Travis, thanks for coming on. Where can people find you on the socials?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me back on tonight again, Harry. Obviously, I love being a regular on the show and always, great to meet some new guests. Been an absolute privilege with you all tonight, obviously talking all things Tottenham. Obviously, hopefully going into the game tomorrow. We've got positive stuff to talk about next time. But you can find me at Official Caster on X, and I am also on LinkedIn where I do a lot of my mental health work. So hit me up on there if you are on there.
Yeah, 100%. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Travis. Very important. Joesph, I'll come to you. Thank you very much, and thank you again as well for agreeing to host these new X Spaces on the Scarfe Spurs Talk page until I've done my exams. Where can people find you across social media beyond, as well as what you're doing with the spaces?
Yeah, so obviously, I'll be getting more involved with that, and I'm really looking forward to it. Again, thank you for the opportunity with that, Harry. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how it goes. And yeah, you can find me on X at Joesph THFC. Mainly just on there for now, but looking to kind of grow my page and yeah, get more involved with Talking Tottenham. Really enjoying it. And again, it's been great tonight. Really enjoyed talking to everybody.
Absolutely, thank you very much. And just like with the podcast and with the channel, everyone is welcome on those X Spaces. No opinion is ridiculous. You'll be listened to. You can come in, as Joesph said earlier at the start. You can listen. You can speak. Totally up to you. No stress at all. It would be great if you can come in. Marlon, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a while since we've done a show together. Lots happened since, hasn't there? Where can we find you though?
You can, obviously you can find me on Spurs Kings TV with Ash. Obviously we do our shows. We've got Premier League shows as well. If you want to come and hit us up, I'll have to get everyone on this panel on the Spurs Kings TV as well. We love having different guests, and just make sure you hit me up after this because I want all of you on at some point in the future on our channel. But yeah, Harry obviously does stuff for us as well. He does the Young Scout. And yeah, I think the next time I'm going to be podcasting properly, I think I'm going to be on Last Word on Spurs like next week. So yeah, I'm just having a bit of time off.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry to drag you on, but thank you very much.
Anything for you, H. Anything for you. You know me.
Thank you very much. I do indeed appreciate it very much. Thank you, Sean. Thanks for coming on. Technical issues at the start. Let's hope Spurs start a little bit quicker tomorrow. Where can people find you on the socials?
Yeah, I'm part of the PRTV Spurs family. So occasionally I turn up on there, but you'd probably get me on Twitter X on Tottenham Tifosi 61. But I'll make sure I send it off to Marlon so he can drag me on and put me right on Postecoglou.
Love it. I'll be tuning in for that one, that's for sure. Thank you, Sean, for coming on, and also a massive thank you to you as well, Alfie. Where can people find you on social media? Obviously, I know you as well do some good work on the socials.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having me. So yeah, my Twitter's just below, and then on Instagram, I photograph the Spurs Academy and do some graphic design work and bits and bobs over there. So that's just Alfie Nicholson Journalism, and then it's more the same really on TikTok now as well. So Alfie Nicholson Journo on there. So student journalist, if you want to follow my stuff, is on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow all these guys across all socials. Thank you very much. Let's hope for a Spurs win tomorrow. And on the Monday podcast, we'll be discussing the win and just feeling more positive. But you just never know with Spurs, as the guys have reiterated. Well, exactly. There's always a positive. They bottle in it. Absolutely. Love it. Absolutely. Can't take positives from Spurs. Let's have a laugh at Arsenal. Always could do that. Come on, massive comedy Spurs though.